I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the AfterBuzz TV's official after show for Netflix original series, Sweet Magnolias. Today, we are talking season 1, episode 2, A United Front. This is a place you want to be after you watch each episode, because we're going to share with you things behind the scenes. We got cast and crew here to share with us things that you won't be able to see anywhere else. So this is exclusive. So make sure you guys always tune into the after show here. And we're really excited to get into things. So I am your host, Jamie Alexander, and I am joined by an incredible panel. Tammy, Bryant, Kelsey in the building. And as promised, we have special guests as well. Please help us welcome Sheryl Anderson, who is showrunner. So she was a creator and manager over this whole production. And of course, none other than Tony Award winning Heather Headley, who plays Helen in the show. What's up, everyone? Before we get into this topics, how is everybody doing?
Wonderful.
I know there's like,
Great.
yes.
It's going to take me a second to get over the fact that we have a Tony Award winner in the chat here.
Like, about that.
I can't wrap my head around it yet.
We're
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a star. And actually, just a fun fact, Heather, this is our second time meeting because I was your homegirl in your music video, He Is.
Shut up.
Yeah.
How good is that?
Oh my gosh, isn't that crazy?
It's so crazy because I believe that was like
small world.
Yes. So I was really excited for this today.
Well, thanks for being in the video and thanks for being my homegirl. We haven't chatted in a while.
Just a small bit.
I don't know how we're homing girling it, but we're gonna make it up today. We're gonna pick up where we left off.
Yes, we will. So today's topics are so juicy, y'all. Okay, so again, this is season 1, episode 2, A United Front. And I'm going to run down some topics for you guys so you know exactly what we're talking about. So topic number 1, how the bruises of past pain show up in the present. We can talk about Dana Sue and a little bit of her PTSD. Topic 2, when one suffers, we all suffer. And we've seen a lot with Tyler. It's not just the parents going through divorce. Everybody kind of goes through the divorce. Mm-hmm. Topic number 3, light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know. Maybe we've got some gentlemen. Cal looks amazing. I think Eric Whitley is kind of amazing. Let's see what you guys think. And finally, the meatiest topic, can Superwoman save herself? Helen's just running around here taking care of everybody else. And we want to know how she's going to take care of herself. And of course, she has her friends to help do that. So let's dive in, y'all. Yes.
Woo!
So this first topic, how the bruises of the past pain show up in the present. This is such a prevalent topic, no matter who you are, because a lot of us have a lot of healing to do depending on what happens to us. So maybe Sheryl, you want to speak to this. When writing and directing and producing Dana Sue through this, we're seeing her PTSD kind of pop up a lot. What do you think in speaking to this episode about Dana Sue and what she's going through and how she's reacting to her friends and family members?
Well, the core incident is that she's been challenged physically, emotionally, and mentally in the place that she feels safest and strongest. So the awful encounter really rocks her in a way that she can't process immediately, because she just, like so many of us, she thinks, well, I'm strong and I'm smart. How on earth would I ever place myself in a situation where things could go wrong? And our writing staff was predominantly female, and we had all been in those situations, and we all had different takes on how you have to fight your way back to feeling safe and strong again. And in terms of Serenity, it was clear that Helen and Maddie were going to be crucial to that. but it's something that Dana Sue has to process in her own way and on her own time. And throughout, well, throughout the season, there are a lot of these kinds of struggles, but we wanted to start with Dana Sue's so that it informs where she's headed for the entire season. All of our ladies are really capable and have a lot of plates spinning. But when you're that busy and you have that many people relying on you, it's hard to stop and say, I'm hurt and I need help.
And I know too, Dana Sue said, I think she says it a couple of times, I'm happiest when I'm busy. And as women in general, like, yeah, I'm so tired of that mantra, but it's kind of a default button.
Well, I think it's also a defense for a lot of us. It's like if I stay busy, then I have at least the illusion of making progress. And if I stay busy, I don't have time to think about what went wrong.
That's really
and you're dealing with a woman who's been challenged in her workplace, who doesn't have the smoothest relationship with her teenage daughter, who's estranged from her husband. So her level of activity helps hide her level of unhappiness.
Definitely. I think she really, what I thought really saw from her this whole episode was like projecting what she's dealing with on everybody else, you know? So especially with the whole trust aspect of trusting men, she was so scared to trust another man and put her faith in another man because she's been burned. So she did not want to take that leap of faith with Eric because she wasn't sure if he was going to pay off her or benefit her in the long run. So I can definitely see that whole arc you're talking about, Jamie, of just these bruises from the past really affecting her in her present and possibly in her future.
And she just wants to keep this strong facade, right? It's like she doesn't want to be vulnerable, and it's harder for her to be vulnerable. So she just keeps herself busy. She blocks everyone else out. And so she just puts on that strong face so she doesn't have to be hurt or scared again.
Absolutely. Now, Heather, with you playing her friend, Helen, you guys gave her a lot of grace. You know, there was a moment where she kind of snapped at you when, Collins was putting in the security system. But it seems like you guys had a great understanding as friends that, no, she's just going through something. But what's your take on how Helen was viewing Dana at the time? And, how were you able to show up through character as a friend for her without being offended by her aggression?
I think that is that's something that we all have issues with and play with, right? So you have your girlfriend or your husband, your significant other, your whoever. And I remember somebody, maybe it was my husband, or somebody told me once, you snap out, you lash out at people that you're closest to and you love the most. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Like you may, like with you guys, might be like, oh my gosh, well, how are you? Yes, thank you. And then somebody walks in, you're like, shut up. And it's your mom or your husband, or that person closest to you, because they'll forgive it. That they'll get back in, that they'll understand, or you can, you understand that there's a comfort there that I can be sometimes meaner with you. A stranger may not
can get away,
that, but you will. I think these ladies, I know that these ladies, they're sisters. They are joined by this relationship, and it is so strong that you're gonna have to come really good to let me fall back. You know what I mean? I'm your protector. I'm your BFF. I know things about you. I've seen you naked. I've seen you clothed. I've seen your attitude naked. I've seen your attitude clothed. We've gone through so much together. And I think at that point, Helen knows something's up, because this is not my friend, of course. You know what I mean? My friend does not behave this way or snap at me, or something's wrong. And I think that's why Helen's kind of like, okay, I got you. I know it's, I'm gonna keep you giving you this because I know something's up here, because she knows that this is not the way Dana Sue is supposed to be or is. So I think a good friend has that, you know what I mean? They know that something's wrong, something's not right here, and she has to extend that, just extend the grace, the forgiveness, and then to come back and be like, you know, let me try to dig into this and find out, you know, what's going on.
I thought it was a beautiful moment when Helen said, you know, Dana Sue snapped at Helen and you kind of went like this and said, okay, but that's not going to stop me from worrying about you.
I was going to say yes.
Yeah. I so love that moment.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody needs that girlfriend, you know, and I think they would do the same thing about them. Everybody needs that sister, that friend in their lives, girl, guy, to say, you know, do what you got to do, and I'm going to take it this time, but it's not going to make. This is how I show you I love you. I'm not going to stop worrying about you. And I think it just really shows how deep and beautiful their relationship is. And I love the fact that I've been, you know, saying this, that their relationship crosses finance, their relationship crosses race, their relationship crosses marriage or singleness or maritalness or whatever it is. These women are just friends and they've loved each other forever. You know what I mean? And so they're sisters, they're bonded so hard that she's just like, I'm going to worry about you. You know what I mean? I know you're dealing with something and I'm going to find out what it is and we're going to work through it and it'll be all right. And you got one more time to snap at me before I come.
Exactly. It is really cool and it is really special how authentic it is. And like we talked with Sheryl about this earlier, just how it's hard to fake authenticity. And it's so obvious that you three women are so close and you're so bonded. I mean, already off the bat, it's been 2 episodes and it's like, you guys really are sisters. I mean, it's believable, these relationships. And I think that's really cool and special to see you guys and just how that, like, it shows. And I love that.
Thank you for that. It was easy to, it became easy to love Brooke and to love Joanna. Just, you know, because these situations, just talking now from the girls' perspective, a lot of times we don't have 6 months or a year to become friends. You know what I'm saying? So they don't call us and say, hey, you guys are going to work together in 5 months. Go be friends. And so love each other. So it's kind of like you walk in and you're like, hi, I'm Heather. You're Joanna. We're going to be best of buddies in like 5 minutes. And so, and so you have this, you know, like when Joanna came in, I remember every time I do a show, Broadway or not, I have this thing whereby I try my best not to be your best friend. I come in, just let's, you know, because I don't want to be disappointed. You know, I think a lot of times people come in and they're like, oh my gosh, we're supposed to be friends. We're supposed to be boyfriend, girlfriend. Let's just love each other. Oh my gosh. And then, you know, 6 minutes later, you're like, I don't think I like you. And so if I kind of come in and just say, I want to just get to know this person. And if we become friends, great. And if we don't, no disappointment's fine. And Joanna kind of walked in and within like, I don't know, 30 minutes, I was like, I think I'm falling for her. I think I'm on this, you know? And so it was easy to fall for the person of Joanna and fall for the person of Brooke very quickly. Even though we're different women in different times in our lives and dealing with different things. And so I'm very pleased, honored, humbled to hear that it comes across. You know what I mean? Because you just don't know. You know, you're just hoping that this friendship that you created very, very, you know, that this happened like extends into, you know, that. So, but yeah, they're very easy to like.
That's amazing.
Yes, that is so amazing. And, you know, even when it comes to Dana Sue, we just mentioned, somebody on here mentioned the inability to let go and her fear with the kitchen staff and not being able to open up and see what Chef Whitley had to offer. I mean, just as an aside, when I was sitting there watching, I was like, oh, sometimes we block our own blessings by not allowing new experiences to come in. So that was just powerful in and of itself.
and the fact that she can get to a point where she can recognize him as a fellow artist,
Mhm.
and create a space for him, I thought was very telling about her potential for healing in other ways as we go forward. And I'm sorry if Eric Whitley wants to cook for me. I'm going to say yes right away.
I'm
Same
saying
here.
yes. I'm hungry.
I need some
But I think
brownies in
we
my
know who
life.
he really wants to cook for.
Mm.
But I also like the fact that Eric Whitley, he does not stop. And
Very
That.
persistent.
I agree.
I think there are times in my life that somebody snaps or somebody says, stay in your lane. And you go, okay,
Okay.
but I do always love the fact that which is something that I would like to know more about Eric. You know, but seriously, like there's this. I think there are a lot of men that cannot take that kind of direction or that
agree.
that power from a woman. Where she's like,
Mhm.
hey, do this, do that, ba ba ba. And I love his strength, which Dion plays so well. There's this amazing. He's a strong, manly man, right? Yet
Mhm.
can say yes, chef, yes.
Yep.
Chef."
Mhm.
And when she says, back, he goes, all right, I can do that. And I think that takes a man who knows himself to
Mhm.
say, I'm cool with that. That's not a problem. You're in charge. And that's what he tells, all the other people in the kitchen. She's in
Absolutely.
charge. That's it's her kitchen. And we run by her rules. And I
Mhm.
love that he's not a doormat. He's not being like, oh, I'm not he's a man's man, but he also knows I'm secure enough to say,
Mhm.
yes, chef, I'm good with that. And I think a lot of us men and women um, could learn, from that whole thing. And then I like the fact that he says, and I'm just gonna push you a little. I know you told me
Mhm.
no,
Right.
but taste my peanut good. Just taste it.
It's like he's secure enough in both ways, right? He's like
Mhm.
secure enough to be like he knows his place and he knows his position and he respects her, but he's also secure enough to be like, oh no, but this is good and I'm your guy. So
Yes,
here
Mhm.
I'm gonna push you just enough to where
yes,
I know it's not gonna be too much. And I
yes,
love that.
yes. And if you say no, it's no again. It's fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mhm.
Like, just taste it. I'm gonna show you my good.
Just
Here on the table. You know what I mean? And if you say no to this, whatever. But there's that part. I'm like, okay, very nice, very nice.
Mhm.
Speaking
He's
from the men of the world, like I'm only like
also
half of them, but um, just want to shout out there that I love exactly what you said, Heather, about how he just takes a step back because most men would just be like, oh no, I'm this, that, or the other, and I know what I'm worth.
Right.
But while he does acknowledge that he's great in the kitchen and he can do so well for her, he knows his place and he knows that she'll see it when the time is right.
Amen.
So that's just so perfect. And yeah. Just
Unlike
man,
unlike the former
take notes, man. Take notes.
yeah, unlike the former chef who's but I love that he gives her and is respectful, but yet it's like, no, I can be here with you. You know what I mean? And it's
Mhm.
just it's great. I think we come up against that all the time, that people are just like, I want to be the A dog too, because that's what we
Always.
tell the world.
Yeah.
I need to be the A dog, oh, it's me. And we do need followers. You know what I mean? That I
Mhm.
think there's strength in saying, I'm stepping back. You know what I mean? There's amazing
Absolutely.
strength when you know you're good at something and you say, but I am going to discipline myself to sit
Mhm.
back here. It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
So Eric Whitley.
I
Eric.
love
We
it.
love Eric. We love Eric.
I love it so much. And, I really can't wait to see how Dana Sue and how she develops as a character in all this. So that's going to be really exciting, which kind of takes me to our second topic. When one suffers, we all suffer. Now we've got Tyler here. He's been struggling. We watched him struggle in episode 1. And then, yeah, he's so sweet, isn't he?
I'm just fanning myself.
I know, he's such a little baby stud. And then in
There's
episode
something in the
2,
water in Serenity.
there's
Mhm.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I think all of us on here want a little taste of that just to understand a little bit more about Serenity.
Awesome.
But I love seeing how we got a chance in episode 2 to really experience more about why he was struggling so much with this divorce and being a growing boy and a young man, the decisions of his father affecting him, because that baseball game, that would have been tough for anybody. Like, let's talk about that baseball game, please.
Seriously.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
Sheryl, how did that come about? Yeah.
The baseball games stood in for us as an example of how in a town like Serenity, where everybody knows your business for good or for ill, you've got a public face and you've got a private face, a public life and a private life. And for poor Ty, who's front and center, or at least center, when he's playing, to have his private life on display with his father and his father's girlfriend making a scene. It's just, it would be hard enough if he could put things aside and try to focus on the game. But that's really about his worlds colliding, that there is no compartmentalization. And that's what is so hard for the Townsend kids about this, is that everybody knows what's happening and they don't have a space that they can retreat to beyond their home, where people aren't looking at them and talking about them and judging them. And there are plenty of people in Serenity that are holding them up and praying for them too. But when we're in those awful situations where we feel shame and anger, I think we feel the people who are judging us more readily than we feel the people who are praying for us. And that's what we were trying to encapsulate in the baseball game.
Gosh, very well done. And I know, Noreen, because of some of the behind the scenes stuff that we got, so I don't know if you guys saw the after show for the pre-show, but what you shared with us about the flavor that Jamie Lynn Spears brought to the Noreen character, it opens you up a little bit more to see, okay, she's not completely innocent in this because it's a very weird situation. However, you don't want to all the way hate her just yet because she's trying.
No.
Yes.
That's a good point. I feel like you definitely don't hate her. I mean, I almost feel for her a little bit, which you understand why Maddie dislikes her. But yeah, and you said it perfectly. Like Sheryl said it earlier perfectly. I mean, Jamie brought something clearly to this character that you're like, wait, this is different. This is weird. It's a character that you don't always see being like the mistress character, right? She's likable. And I think that during the baseball game, the part that was killing me, because I've seen it and I remember seeing that growing up in high school, and I was a gymnast and we had family friends who were kind of in a similar situation. It's the mistress or the girlfriend or the boyfriend of the parent who's cheering, and that was what was messing with him. And then the kids start like saying or mimicking her, and you feel, oh my gosh, your insides. So you guys did that so well. I thought that was so interesting, and it was so funny because I mean, Noreen's doing it all from a place of like, she's a good heart, but she doesn't realize what's happening.
Well, and I think sometimes the most hurtful actions come from people who mean well and just have no sense of the fact that they've crossed a line that shouldn't be crossed. But it was really important for us in creating this world that there is almost no one in Serenity. Well, there's no one in Serenity beyond redemption. And people fail in little ways and people fail in huge ways. But we always want our characters to at least have the choice to accept grace and find redemption and find a new way to move forward.
Absolutely. And what's so powerful about that is real life. And this show, in reflection of how they deal with the characters, is giving the watcher the opportunity to ask themselves, oh, am I being graceful? Can I forgive? Am I being mean? Am I being judgmental? Am I giving other people the same space I expect them to give me when I'm not perfect, so to speak? So it's really great that you guys brought that to a forefront in a very intentional way.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So is there light at the end of the tunnel? We don't know everything yet because it's just episode 2. However, I'm seeing these sprinkles and these glimmers with these gentlemen who are just stepping it up just a little bit or a lot of it. We've got the hunky Cal, he, a former All My
Hunky.
Children's
Like
model.
that?
He's just, oh my God. It's not the kind of person you
Former
expect
All
to
My
run into,
Children.
right? Yes. So what do we think? Let's just say, Heather, because you play Maddie's friend, how excited were you as her friend for the run-in at the gym, here and there? Like, you're kind of putting those little sprinkles in there, like, he's cute.
The
What was your,
parlor.
yes, exactly. What was your angle with that? Just being a good friend.
Just being a good friend. You know, every girlfriend has to stand behind her girl, and if you can't date Cal, then your girlfriend should, and she should.
Amen.
Because you have other people that you have to deal with. So it's so weird, right? I was watching it with my husband, and he's like, not the coach, the coach, here we go.
Oh.
And those small town things, it just blows it up even more. And so I feel as though there's a part when I was watching it and thinking to myself, oh, this gets a little messy, because there's this divorce going on, there's this breakup happening, and then of course this coach comes in, and you can just see, oh Lord, here we go, oh Maddie, and part of you is like, go Maddie, yes Maddie, yes Maddie, like, no Maddie, go Maddie. So but he's great, and I think I have to say the casting of everyone in this show, throw me aside, but it's been great, because not only is he's a beautiful looking man, but there's just this, I don't know, there's just this, again, it's that strong but gentle man. You're thinking to yourself, if I was recently not even divorced, I haven't even signed the papers yet.
Right.
He's like, can we talk about baseball? You're like, yes, we can.
I love baseball. Baseball is great.
I like baseball. I love it when they hit the ball through those stand-up right things. I love it. I love baseball. All the quarters of baseball, I love. I love the quarters.
Love the running.
I love the running up and down the court. I love baseball.
That's so funny. I know you said the casting,
yeah, I just think he really does. You have and this the talk of the town. Of just and then how the kids handle this. I mean, you talk about Portela. I mean, now he's gonna have to deal with my coach and my mom, not to mention Noreen and Daddy, and it's just you come back to the kids, how we handle this. So it's interesting. I think it's a beautiful angle, but you're just kind of like, oh goodness, is this the right decision? I hope it is. All that.
Yes. And then you mentioned the casting. It's like all of them are beautiful men. I want the son, the dad, the second boyfriend. Like, it's just so funny.
I know, right? It's like you leave your husband and you get this. It's like,
right.
Suddenly there's a line at town hall. I want to leave my husband. I want to leave my husband.
Yeah, right.
I know. All the women are going to be like, I'm going to leave my husband. Leave the husband, get him. Okay.
Well, I have to say we are very fortunate that our cast across the board is beautiful inside and out. I mean, not only do we have incredibly attractive people, but we have incredibly talented people and gracious, good-hearted people who brought their A game and then some every day, and were very supportive of each other, really leaned into every scene, whether they were the center of it or whether they just stuck their head in the room for a moment and went away. And I am so hopeful that our teen actors understand the masterclass that they took in season 1, being able to work with Heather and Joe and Brooke and Chris and Justin. I mean, I learned a lot sitting in Video Village and watching them every day. And I laughed a lot and I cried a lot. But it's just to see such a group of selfless performers, not just give of themselves, but give to each other, I think is one of the most special things about our show.
Well, she's being very sweet, but I will say that the trickle, or in this way, the pour comes, pour it out.
Pour it out.
Pour it out. It comes from the top. And so Sheryl and Dan and Norman, they hemmed us in. They hugged on us. They were like mother hens, you know, and father hens, just not father hens, father, well, forget the chickens. But they hemmed us in and they covered us with their wings, and they you know, thought about us as people. I've been on sets before where sometimes, you know, you're an actor, come in, get it done. I'm going to do this, you know, but they thought about us. I was 2 or 3 months postpartum at the time. And so had a baby, and just, you know, having Sheryl and Joanna and Justin. I mean, everybody had kids. How you doing? You doing okay? You shouldn't be here. You're fine. You know, I need extra time in the trailer because I'm pumping on air. And it's like, you know what I mean? And that came from the top. And not just us, when the people you do not see made it even amazing as well. So we have these great cameramen who would come up to us on the side and be like, that was awesome. You know what I mean? I had crew guys coming up and saying, that was great. So it, you know, you made me cry too. That was, oh my gosh, we love that. And so it wasn't like a crew, it was just like a family. Like you know, people brought their kids to the show, to the set, and we were like, are you doing okay? And this, you know, so we did get along well, and we should. It was very hot down there in the South. So,
Georgia, right?
yeah, it was hot. And I'm from the Caribbean, and it was hot. But yeah, it's a great team. But she shouldn't sell herself short. That mandate was mandated from the top.
Oh, well, I was taught early in my career that you find the best people and then you get out of their way. And so it was a delight. I'm still a little awestruck by the cast, but feel very, very blessed that we all found our way to each other.
Absolutely. Well, I love that. And it was really great to watch Cal kind of step it up. I feel like the moment he saw, oh, divorce, green light. Well, I can show you things. I can do this. I can do that. Here's quarters, baby girl. Go play some games. I got
baby girl.
Right. He is very quick.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Right in there. One of my favorite scenes was at the baseball game, the look. I was like, ooh. He gave him one look. And I liked the line, Maddie's line, like, you got to teach me how to do that. I was like, oh yeah, girl. Yeah, he does.
Justin.
That was so great. So really, this kind of brings us to our fourth topic. And this is the juiciest one because we have Heather, AKA Helen, in the building. This show, A United Front, was really heavily weighted on who you are, what you who Helen is and what she brought to the table, and kind of gave us a good picture about her. So we titled this topic, Can Superwoman Save Herself? And it's something that I ask you, you know, we watched you struggle throughout the episode. You're doing your best to give to others. You know, you hook Colin up with someone to help him work because you know the story of his brother not being around, and the real, you know, angst behind him wanting to sell is because he's lonely in his work and it's not there anymore. You were able to identify that and fill in. Same thing with helping the kids, Addie and Avery, get to the right home, and using your motherly sense, whether you had children or not, to kind of see, ooh, I don't know about this Charlotte character or what's going on. This gentleman, the Godfather who came in from Atlanta, he seems to have, you know, so you're using all of your skills. And there was a couple of times where Helen once was on the verge of breakdown and then once needed to have a moment, because when you're a woman and you're waiting and you don't see prospects and you don't have kids and you're everything to everybody else, it hurts when, and not because you're not happy for other people, but because it's like, Lord, where's mine? You know, so I was able to relate. So it was very powerful. What do you guys think of that? Look, you know, we can start with the panel. What, you know, any of you guys weigh in on that? What did you think?
You know,
Well, I thought from, go ahead.
one of my favorite Whitney Houston songs, I did a cover of it, is Run to You. And I know we all, but the lyrics are, you know, I know that when you look at me, there's so much that you just don't see. But if you would only take the time, I know in my heart you'd find a girl who's scared sometime, who isn't always strong, who, you know, can't you see the hurting me? I feel so all alone. You know, and then she said in the second verse, it's like, when I turn the key at night, there's no one there. And I go home alone. And what I want to do is run to you. I want to run. I want you to hold me in your arms and keep me safe from harm. I want to run to you. And I feel like that could be Helen's theme song. You know, it's like it's a little bit of Dana Sue. You fix everybody else. You're kind of great busy. You're running around. You take care, and you take on all this stuff. But I'm sure that the toughest place is to open the door at night and to kind of go home. You know, I turn that key and there's no one there. There's no one there, no one there for her. And so the question is, can Superwoman save herself? And I don't know if she can. I don't know if I think she might be filled with kryptonite and may not be able to, you know, she might be her own, her own weakness. You know what I mean? But
right.
I think the beauty with Helen for me when I was reading her was that she was real in that she's broken.
Yeah.
And she's broken. And that's the kind of character you want, right? You don't need somebody because nobody's here. And so, yes, she's educated, very educated. Yes, she's seen the world. Yes, she's, you know, gone all over, and she's smart, and she's got a great wardrobe filled with clothes and amazing shoes. But here's this woman who longs for the normal things, just the things that people might consider mundane. She wants to be a mommy. She wants to have a love. She wants to turn that key, open the door, and hear noise coming back at her, and that she doesn't have. And so for that breaks her a lot, you know. And I think, and she pours into the community. She pours into her friends. She pours into their children. But the question is, who's going to pour into her?
Yeah. Wow. I really resonated with that too, because like it's this whole thing with both Helen and Dana Sue about just keeping busy and just trying to keep your hand in everything. So you just push that aside so you don't notice it. And I resonated with that so much myself. It's just wanting to be busy and wanting to just do all the things that I can. And I'm totally fine. Like I don't need a man. Like I can do all this on my own and I got myself. But at the end of the day, I would like it. Like it's not a necessity, but it's something that it'll just add to what's already happening, you know. And I think that's what Helen is going through. She's just like, I have all these amazing things, but why am I still wanting for this last piece of the puzzle? Yeah. So I absolutely saw that in her.
And I think you always tell yourself, you know, I have everything. I used to say to myself, well, I want a man who can give me what I cannot give myself. And I used to say that almost like as, I can give myself.
Proud, yeah.
But there's some stuff you can't. And the love of
Mhm.
children, the love of a husband, the love of, you know what I mean, family, that kind of thing you cannot do. But I find Helen to be interesting, as you guys will know. She's back in town for a reason. This woman
Right.
goes all over. She's smart. She goes everywhere, and then she decides, I'm coming back to Serenity, and I'm going to stay in Serenity, and and pour into this community and try to raise it up and do all that kind of stuff. And you know what, too? May I just say, not to be long-winded, but I've been thinking about her a lot these days as we go through this thing.
Mhm.
And like even how she is such the little entrepreneur, how she wants her community to thrive and to live.
Mhm.
And my husband at the beginning of this thing said, even at the littlest things, we're going to try to help our small businesses in town. You know what I mean? He was like, if it means going out to get a pizza on a night that we don't need
Right.
to, you're going to pay $5 to the Domino's guy. I mean, I send my dry cleaning out every night. I have no dry cleaning, because I'm not going to be dry cleaning.
Right.
But I'm like finding things in the closet, just to send out to keep my little town, my community
Mhm.
bustling. I mean, not bust, but to help some small,
Help.
So every week we're trying to find, okay, which restaurant can we help out this week, or which person can we help out, which store can we buy something from. And I thought about Helen and the fact that she's so intent on like, Serenity has to prosper. Serenity has to stand up. And there's this Black girl in this southern town coming back home to this southern town, and she's like, no, this is home for me. These people love on me, and I want this town to prosper.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
really cool. She's so hopefully she'll find somebody.
Hopefully.
God, I love that perspective
Hopefully.
so much. Kelsey, what did you think about Helen and how she showed up in this episode? I'd love to hear your feedback.
I loved Helen in this episode. And Heather, I'm actually very curious because you mentioned that when you were filming this, you were a couple months postpartum. Did that like affect you when you were like filming these sort of scenes, like getting emotional about the kids and wanting kids? Were you like, and I don't know if like your kid was with you filming, but were you like, oh my gosh, I feel this, like I miss my own children and
Yeah.
my own child.
Yeah, because we had some issues having one of ours, and I remember that feeling of wanting to have a child, and it's a desperation. I know friends who had trouble or haven't had, and you get to a point where you're desperate, and especially as us women, you get to that point that the clock starts ticking and it's ticking faster, and you're like, oh, and Helen's right there, and so I remember just feeling how desperate she must feel. And then I think on the other end, just having a baby as well, knowing what she was missing. So you know what I mean? Like I could meet her in the center of like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I know this feeling of the desperation, but I also know what you're longing for. You know what I mean? And so
Right,
here you
right.
are. And so
You
yeah,
understood, yeah.
it did kind of help me try to navigate, who she was while pumping in the trailer.
While bumping in the
And
You poor
showing
thing.
up for 2 a.m. calls like it was
Oh,
nothing.
Oh no.
Just, beautiful
so
and
awesome.
composed and ready to go and
Maybe
hitting
it's
every
Maybelline.
emotional it was really impressive.
When you're
Made us
not
all
sleeping at home,
stand
why
up a
not
little.
sleep there? Yeah, it's fine.
I
I know,
love that. Yes, please go ahead, Tammy, share.
I know in episode 2, I was starting to worry about Helen because I was actually surprised that in 1
Mm.
and 2, she was really the one that was keeping everyone and everything together. And I didn't realize that that was going to be her role. And so come episode 2, I mean, Heather, you have this mastery of being able to layer, the emotions and the experiences. And so you could see Helen becoming more and more vulnerable. And the scene where the godfather gets custody of the two girls
Mhm.
just broke Helen. And you said, you know, I
Wow.
need a
Mm,
moment. And you went in the back
mhm.
and tried to find that moment. And here comes Eric
Mhm.
with the
With the
dirt
gloves.
glove. And I literally was like this because I thought, oh my God, is she going to take the gloves or is she going to give him an attitude? And she took the
Right.
gloves. And I was like,
Mm.
Eric Whitley.
Eric Whitley.
And
Oh
I
my
love
God.
that she did take the gloves because I feel like with Eric, it was an opportunity. I felt like Helen was seen in that moment. So here you go through the whole
Mhm.
episode, like giving to them, making sure Annie feels good, making sure you're there for Maddie, making sure. So you're doing all this putting out. And in your weakest moment in the episode, he remembered that you're not going to do nothing because of your manicure.
Right.
So it was like
Mhm.
he saw her. And that, to me, just as a watcher, it took her out of that space of defeat and despair and the why me and why not me into like, all right, I'm down. Let me get some chicken pot pie and
Right?
let's
Because
just
she
do
doesn't work for
this.
free. She does not work for free. I loved
Okay.
that line. I said, yes, girl. That's my girl.
She's got a law practice. I can't work for free.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Dana and Maddie free law stuff. I can't. Everybody else.
Yeah,
Yes, there was another pain point, and I want to see how you guys feel. Of course, so Helen shows up for the community, but now when we get to these friendships and girlfriends, at the end, it was such an opportunity for Dana Sue and Maddie to show up for Helen because realistically, for a woman, in my opinion, to say out of her mouth, like, you know, what if he doesn't exist? I don't know. And I'm okay with that. Knowing good and
Mhm.
well, that's not really what you mean. So it's such an opportunity not only to watch your words and your intention and be lovingly corrected by your friends, but also for them to stand in the gap for you and hold space of belief. Because even Maddie was like, he could be in front of your face, or maybe
Mhm.
somebody's moving here. We don't know. So, so Brian, what did you think about that scene and how that was introduced?
Absolutely. I basically alluded to it, but it's just this whole idea of putting up this front that you're okay with it, but not really being with. I, for many years, shouted from the heavens that I don't need a man on my own. I can get my own. I'm totally like the boss. But at
Mhm.
that same token, when I really look introspectively and when I really thought about it, I'm like, it would be great, like Heather said, to have someone to run to have someone to comfort me when I'm sad, and to have those friends that'll remind you, like, it's okay to not be okay with it. It's okay to want a little bit more. It's okay to need that extra piece of your life that you're wanting and you're missing. And so I absolutely love that. And I love margarita nights. I can't wait for more of that.
I
They're just
know.
amazing.
We'll have our own virtual one.
Yes.
Ooh,
There you go.
yes.
There you go.
Right? We'll invite you both.
Wonderful, wonderful. The
Yes. So
Sweet Magnolias cookbook has
Oh.
Helen's lethal margarita recipe in it, and they are
Ooh.
outstanding. I mean, it's just research. We had to make them.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Of
research
course.
And
purposes.
they're
Of
amazing,
course.
absolutely amazing.
Helen has one every. That's why she needs to run too. She has one every time she opens the door and nobody's there. She was like, and let's do this. That's how they got me.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect.
Same sister.
Oh, poor Helen.
so good. Was there anything in that scene that you can think of, Sheryl, where there was layers and work that needs to be done in scenes like this that we didn't see, or something special and behind the scenes about putting this together so that us, the watcher, were able to get so much value out of it? Was there any extra discussions or any, pulling aside and extra work or angles that you worked with the actors to get to help them really drive home the points that we're kind of talking about in this storyline?
No, because first of all, they're incredible actors, but they're incredible women. And as I said, we felt it was our responsibility to make sure that they felt safe to explore the characters fully. But when you put these three together, like something magical and miraculous happens, and they genuinely pour it out. And we just stand back and soak in the beauty of it all. And it made us feel very confident very early that because they can delve so deeply into even these painful moments, that not only did we have the right magnolias, but that they were going to be able to take us amazing places, both happy and heart-wrenching.
Heart-wrenching, yes. Absolutely. Well, of course, because we have you beauties here. Heather, was there anything that you wanted to share about Helen, or, without any spoilers, is there any like most memorable moment for you in this filming?
I won't tell you that she becomes president of the United States.
Okay.
I hope
Because
so.
I wasn't sure.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I hope so. I'm
Astronaut.
voting for her.
Did I mention? And she also becomes an astronaut. But but I don't know to tell you. Helen has a little journey. Things are gonna happen. And Sheryl and they were not nice to us either. So we would only get the script like we'd get 2 episodes. So I never knew what Helen was gonna do.
Wow.
So we would just kind of work what I saw, and then we'd be in the room reading it, and I'm like, seriously, really? This is what happened? Because they never gave us. So you couldn't go ahead and even have the thought of like, oh well, that's gonna happen. So maybe I have a wink here or be nicer here. No, it's just they gave us nothing. So as you see it is how we saw it to some extent. Like it was just
Cool.
us, every 2, So it was it was kind of always interesting for me to get the script and be like,
what's gonna happen?
Is Helen getting pregnant? Is Helen getting an astronaut? Is Helen? Who's Helen? Is Helen around? What's Helen doing? I don't know. And so that's what you see. But she has a little bit of a journey, and she has a little bit of learning to do. And so she has some breaking, and she has some coming back together. And she is still going to be loyal to her friends and love on her friends and loyal to her community. But she's there's a little bit of a learning for her. But she's incredibly, I think, through the whole thing, incredibly interesting. Because I do think maybe Dana Sue has the line that also is for. I think Helen's busyness, keeps her from sitting still and looking in the mirror and saying, this is maybe not all that I want. You know what I mean? But I have great respect for such a woman, because I think in life, in Serenity, I grew up in a little island in Trinidad, the most beautiful island ever, Trinidad. And then we moved to Fort Wayne, Indiana. And so it was a smaller little town. But I always know, right, Sheryl, those towns where everybody's always like, you want to get out, you want to go. You know what I mean? Well, we have to go to America. Or you're in Fort Wayne. It's like, no, we got to leave. We got to go to New York. We got to go to LA. We got to go, get out of the town, get out of Serenity. And Helen comes back. You know what I mean? Like she's like, no, I'm coming back. I'm coming here. This is home. I want to be with my friends. I want to be with my family. So she's incredibly interesting to me. And what is she running from? Who is she?
Can't wait to see.
I like that.
You know what I mean? Does she have a meth lab in her basement?
Should she be on
I need to
Breaking
write that
Bad?
down.
Does she have tigers? Tigers. Is she very
Oh no.
Tiger King. I love this.
Did she kill her first husband and feed them to the tiger?
You don't know.
You just don't know.
You don't know.
I know. This isn't it.
Love it. Quarantine's
Well, I
getting to us.
Yes, I guess we're definitely going to have to stick around to find out. So, as panelists, did we have any more questions for Sheryl and Heather before we kind of wrap this up? Anything that we missed or, want to add to the conversation?
There better be Tyler shirtless. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm making a note.
Thank you. That's for me a personal note.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. And I guess, one final question, and we kind of touched on this, but I kind of wanted to know, what is it that you want the audience to learn from Helen? Or what are you hoping that they take away that they can use in their real life as a lesson that comes from Helen and how she's tackling this thing?
I hope everybody kind of has a Helen. You know what I mean? Like I kind of look in my life and go, okay, who's my Helen? Who's my, we call it the ride or die. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yes.
When Sheryl came to me about the show, she and Dan, I was 8.5 months, very big pregnant, sitting in my OB's office, talking to her with my legs like up. I remember my OB, like, are you coming in? And I was like, just give me a minute. I'm trying to get a gig. It's fine. And so, but very pregnant. And because I knew it was my last pregnancy, I had visited this burrito shop a little more than I should have. So I remember telling Sheryl, like, you do know I'm very pregnant and like really pregnant and like lots of burritos pregnant. There's the baby and then there's the burrito.
Oh my God.
And a side note, and they were like, yeah, we know you're pregnant and we're fine with that and we don't care. And I would say this in front of her. I have I think as women, we have this thought, well, maybe they wouldn't take me because I'm pregnant, and maybe they wouldn't take me because I'm going to be postpartum and things are not where they normally are, and I don't look like myself, and all this kind of stuff. And Sheryl Anderson and Norman Buckley and Dan Paulson and Netflix to some extent said, no, we need you and your thoughts and your faith, and that's it. And I'm grateful for that because they taught me a lesson in this womanhood. You know what I mean? That we sometimes think, oh, well, I'm not pretty enough, or I just had a baby, and they were like, no. And even these two men who said, no, you're fine. And we have a costume designer and she'll try to hide all of that. So you'll be okay. And so I'm incredibly, grateful for that. And I'm incredibly grateful for Helen. I have these characters in my life that I'm, Nala and Aida and Sugar Breeze and Rachel Marin. And now I can throw Helen Decatur on there. And I do appreciate them and love them. So I feel when I was saying, when she came to me to talk to me, I had just read this book, The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia. And one of the best lines ever that I think I've read, and I've had a few, but the friend comes up to her friend's door at night, knocks on the door, and she opens the door and she says, I need you to help me hide a body. And her friend says, let me get my shovel. And I remember thinking, that's the kind of diva you need in your life.
Amen.
And that said to me, and that's Helen, that when you come into the door and you're just like, I need you to help me hide a body, you're like, let's get my shovel. You know what I mean? Like, what did you do? Oh my gosh, we're the police. How's it gonna go? We're gonna be criminals. You're just like, okay, I don't know who you killed, but let's go hide it. Like, that's Helen Decatur. She is always gonna say, let me get my shovel. and I'm there for my girlfriends. And
Love that.
of course, I want a Helen in my life. I hope everybody has a legal Helen. A non-criminal
That part.
Helen, non-criminal Helen. I
The
hope-
hiding the body is an analogy, y'all. It's an analogy.
Let's just, But I pray that we all can find that girlfriend who holds us accountable, who is there for us, who tells us when we're wrong, who maybe we can snap at every now and then, but who's loyal and strong and will fight for us like the lioness she is. And we'll say, I'll get my shovel and I will come help you dig out of whatever mess you're in, and so that's what I pray, that everybody will find that friend, even if she's broken and she's hurt at times, but that you'll have a good old girl in your corner.
Amen.
Oh,
Amen.
give me chills.
Amen.
Amen. That's our theme. Amen. I love that.
God, that was so incredible. And thank you for that. And Sheryl, any last words on the United Front this episode before we head out? Anything you wanted to share with us?
No, I think Heather summed it up beautifully. So I won't put a ribbon on a ribbon. I'll just reiterate that it's amazing to have Heather be one of our Magnolias, and you think you love her now, just wait.
I can't wait.
Oh, well, the suspense. All right. We love it. Thank you, ladies, so much again for pouring out, taking time to speak with us and the fans here who totally love the show and giving us so much insight on the characters and your personal lives as well as the process. So this is amazing. It feels really exclusive and intimate. And I know those of you watching at home just got so much value. So please tweet about it, share with your friends, get on Instagram. We all want to hear your stories too and how you relate to the characters. I'm sure everyone could benefit from that. So thank you, amazing panelists, for all the questions you guys prepared. And yes, you guys, absolutely. After the next show, you know where to be, right here with AfterBuzz TV for the after show for Netflix original series, Sweet Magnolias. Thank you so much for watching.
We love your pillow, Heather.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.